Hello, and welcome to Life's Transitions. I'm Coach Charley, and today I have a special guest with me to discuss transitions of a teenager, transitioning from middle school to high school, and the planning and preparation of transitioning from high school to adulthood. So without further ado, welcome, Roderick.
Thank you.
How are you today?
I'm good.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me today. As you know, I have been discussing life's transitions as it relates to adults, and I thought it would be a really good idea to get some perspective from a teenager, one who's been through middle school and now in high school, and also planning to move forward after high school. You're 2 years into high school now, or 2 years since you've been from middle school, and now you're 2 years into high school. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Roderick Porter. I wrestle and I run track, so I'm an athlete. I'm also very focused in school. School comes first, of course. I like to write. I like to think about life, and I'm into that philosophy. I try to make sure I'm a well-rounded person, so that, no matter where I end up in life, I know that I'm good. Yeah, that's pretty much me.
Nice. So, as I mentioned earlier, I really wanted to get a full grasp on your view on middle school, maybe towards the end of middle school, and talk a little bit about what middle school was like for you and that transition, or preparing to transition from middle school to high school.
Yeah, middle school was a lot more strict as far as like space and freedom, because they still treated us like children. In high school, it's much different. They just begin to treat you like young adults. The workload is heavier, expectations are a lot heavier, so with freedom comes more expectations on how you handle that. Middle school was a little more locked down, and we didn't have a lot more, freedom to move and navigate, and it was pretty strict, so it wasn't much freedom in what we could do. That transition, it was liberating. At the same time, different class schedules, and some people are in academic classes, some people are in honors classes, some people are in AP classes, so schedules, workloads are now completely different, and you might not see a lot of your friends all the time, and that's hard, but you kind of get used to it, and you kind of make time to see them, and it's a big adjustment, but as far as responsibility goes, it's definitely helpful to see what life's going to be like in the future. Things aren't always going to be so guided. You're not always going to have somebody to hold your hand and doing stuff. So the transition was kind of difficult at first, but you kind of find your way, and it's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, thank you. So let's talk about middle school and balancing your schoolwork and your athletics.
Yeah, balancing that, you have to have a game plan as far as when you're going to do this assignment and when you're going to do this assignment, and how much energy are you going to have after practice. And it's not easy, but you get used to it, and if anything, it makes you a lot more prepared for school, college, later on in life. A lot of other people who may not participate in school or extracurriculars, it's definitely a challenge, but it's not impossible to manage, and important to get things done while you're at school. So you have time at lunch, knock out a couple problems or homework assignments, and when you get home, you have a little bit more time to relax and chill.
If you had to, give adults, teachers, parents, if you had to say one thing to your parent or your teachers about supporting a young middle school student and the things that they're going through emotionally, socially, what would you say to adults?
Yeah, so I think sometimes adults forget what it's like to be a kid. Right, because a couple decades removed from childhood, and things happen fast in life. Life is a train that keeps on going, so teachers have to sometimes humble themselves to realize, hey, I was once here in their shoes, and I know that emotionally they're going through changes, friendships, they're going through changes, things start to pop up, life, and it's not easy all the time, and take a little time to understand and be a little bit more patient, and be a little bit more reluctant to judge or really be hard on them, be hard on us, really, because just like a lot of adults, we got our own stuff going on. Where you think it's small or big in the moment, everything is pretty huge to us.
Absolutely.
So, it's about putting things into perspective. Perspective is big. Yeah.
So I know that you experienced loss during middle school. How did you manage your emotions around losing a loved one, and did it impact you? And how did it impact you going forward?
I don't think I really managed it how I was supposed to. Middle school for me was a big social adjustment, and I really began to find myself in who I was as a independent person. People began to know me more, and socially I became, more of a butterfly and felt good. And it's really hard when you begin to feel empowered and you begin to find yourself as an individual, and then something tragic happens, and it's like almost as if you're on the top of the world, and then someone pulls you from your foot, and you're just all of a sudden you're falling. I don't think I really managed it well. I know I went to the counselor once, maybe twice, but that didn't really help. It's one of those things where you really have to look in yourself, and I suggest that anybody that suffers loss, you definitely talk to someone about it. And that's easier said than done. It's much easier said than done because I didn't really do that. If there's one way I dealt with it, I would say writing. Writing helped a lot.
Sure.
Sometimes you can't always speak about how you're truly feeling, and sometimes, people may not want to hear what you have to say. So the way to get that out and to make sure it's getting out positively and not negatively, because you don't want to bring anybody else down, I would say is writing. Writing how you feel and writing what's in your mind and in your heart. Even if no one ever sees it, it's important to get it out there in a productive and positive manner. Yeah, I don't think I really dealt with it properly at first, but it helped me realize the full spectrum of life, and we can't take things for granted at all. You have to appreciate everything that you have, and anything can be gone in a second, and it's just important to, like I said, humble yourself and find humility.
Good. So would it be fair to say that if you have a special gift or talent, maybe using that as a way to help yourself grieve or mourn as a young person?
Well, I actually don't believe in talent. I don't believe in talent. I've been thinking about that a lot, and I think I've come to find that, I don't believe in talent. I think certain people are more adept to do different things.
Okay.
But I think the rest is just, if you're passionate about it, and you're really passionate about it, hard work and persistence, dedication to what you believe in, and then, people will see the finished product or, somewhat of the finished product, and it comes off as talent or a gift.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as using it to, help work through, you said
your issues, any issues or mourning?
Yeah, use it. I mean, it's who you are, and, if there's any way, let's say someone's, good at singing, and they work on it, and they get really good at singing. Music is therapy.
Sure.
Music is therapy. If you're good at writing is therapy. People that are really good at basketball, I know some people will spend hours in the gym just shooting because it's therapy. Anything that you love, and especially if you can work through your issues with something that you love, I think it's a really good form of therapy. I think it's a really good way of finding clarity. It kind of opens up and helps you work through your issues and clear everything up, and you can find clarity in yourself and find clarity in your problems, and maybe hopefully find a silver lining in it all. Something to take your mind off of the dark things, so you don't want to dwell on that.
Tell me, what was your toughest experience transitioning from middle school to high school?
Not the work, but the expectations.
Expectations from?
Myself. And that's another thing. I think teachers and maybe some parents don't realize that you might have expectations of what your child can do, but most of the times, their expectations are a lot higher than you think they are. Mm-hmm. So when you double down on that, now it becomes pressure. It becomes weight, and it becomes baggage, and you gotta carry that around. Thankfully, I have a parent like you you make sure, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. If I'm stressed out, it's coming from me because I have expectations of what I can do. So the hardest thing was dealing with my expectations and starting to realize that, hey, okay, do bad on this test or you don't do this right. It's not the end of the world. Life goes on. 9 out of 10 times, what you do in high school academically does not determine where you'll end up in the next 10 years or 5 years. It's not the end of the road. Yeah, so the hardest part was dealing with my expectations. I really wanted to do well. I never got straight A's before that point. I wouldn't say I was an A student before that point. I was probably B plus student. My goal was I'm getting straight A's, and I believed in it. I worked hard, and it stressed me out some nights, but the road to success isn't an easy one, and it's about working through all the emotions and working through all the phases to get to where you want to be, and you have to know that, you have to accept that going in.
Sure. So, I hear you saying that, it's interesting that oftentimes there are outside expectations, those of your parents, those of your teachers, but also the expectations that you have for yourself. It compounds the possible stress of school and life. And that can be, and where a lot of times people don't remember or see that. What expectations that you have of yourself. So going forward, I know we talked a little bit about parents, and yes, I am your parent. But I think that it is, your point of view transcends a lot of teenagers and expectations that they may have of themselves, and feeling like possibly they've let themselves down, let their teachers down, let their parents down. And so it's important that we understand, I think it's important that parents and teachers understand that students have expectations, and maybe we should look at what their expectations are first before giving our opinions about where they are at a particular point in time. If you had to, now you're in high school, so tell me about your experience in high school. Like, who are your motivators, or who are the people that have helped propel you to some of your successes, teachers, parents, friends, yourself for that matter? How has that helped you, and what would you recommend other students who are out there maybe struggling to communicate with the people in their circle or not in their circle?
Communicate how, like being more social, or communicate their issues?
Either social issues, struggles.
I think the first step before you begin to, cause if you're not really a social person, I'm a social person, but I would say I'm in between. But if you're not really a social person, I wouldn't say throw yourself out into the wolves.
Sure.
You know, because you have to find balance. If you don't find balance, it can go really bad. But I would say you have to find who you are, who you really are, and you have to trust and believe in that with everything you have. Everything you have. Because I've seen people who I know that they're really insecure inside, and they don't really know who they are, and they just follow anybody. And then when that group kind of turns on them, or maybe something doesn't go out well and they find out I don't really belong, then it's kind of it's a downer. And I think you have to find who you are and just be who you are. You'll start to see people who are like you, and then you can make the move and be like, hey, let's kick it, let's be friends, or let's start talking. And then next thing you know, it becomes a group of people, and now you have, I would say, quote unquote, your tribe of people. And finding loyalty,
Sure.
right? Finding balance, and making sure that you're not so oblivious to their so-called flaws, right? That you kind of follow anybody, and anything that they do can, at first glance, you might be like, oh, these are my people, and then next thing you know it, you're like, okay, they're kind of doing something that maybe I shouldn't be doing, or they have bad habits that I know that are eventually probably gonna rub off on me. So you want to make sure that you always stay on 10 toes, always ready to move, always ready to readjust. But the most important step is finding out who you are, and searching for your individuality, and being confident. Confidence is important.
Yeah.
If you're not confident in who you are, no one else is going to be.
Yeah. Well, you said something that I thought is very important. You mentioned the word tribe.
Yeah.
And let's talk about your tribe, because your tribe is a big term nowadays, and I think it's a big term that you use for someone your age. So let's talk about your tribe. Who is in your tribe? Well, how is your tribe made up?
My tribe is made up of people that I know are going to have my back, no matter what. My tribe is made up of people that are going to make me laugh. My tribe is made up of people who are going to teach me things. My tribe is made up of people who I know are passionate about what they like, and I know they're going to pursue it with everything they have, or I know that they're going to work hard, right? Because you don't want to be in a tribe of people who are lazy, who don't have goals, who they like to bring others down more than like to build others up.
Yeah.
And my tribe is definitely built up of people who are motivators. Whether they believe it or not, good energy rubs off. And
Sure.
Energy rubs off in general. I like to be around people who have good energy. Tribe is family. And it extends beyond friends. My friends I consider family. Tribe is definitely filled with people who love. Love first, unconditionally. Have your back, are loyal. They'll do anything for you.
Have you found a tribe amongst your teachers on some level?
Yeah. Elementary school. I definitely had 3 really, really good teachers. There weren't a lot of people that looked like me. There were a lot of black kids, and diversity. It was diverse to, America's standard, considering that, we're only, 13% of the population. So it was diverse in that aspect, but it really wasn't. And just having teachers that looked like me, understood the struggles that, we've gone through as a people, and the struggles that you might have to continue to face as a people, definitely helped. And, knowing that they have my back, and they would take times out of their days or their lunches to help me make sure I was on track and make sure that, I did well. And that meant a lot. And, I go back to visit them. It's just nice to know that they still care and that they're still there and they want to see us succeed. And so I definitely found my tribe as far as teachers go. So that's really nice. And a lot of kids can't even say that.
Sure. So you mentioned your academics, but you also mentioned sports. So what about sports and your coaches that might be teachers? How have they impacted your growth over the years?
Well, I'll say I've had one coach who's my wrestling coach, who's really, he's not just a coach who only cares about how you perform on the mat. Really, it's about, for him, it's making sure that constantly you work hard. And I think another big thing with him is confidence. Having confidence in your ability. Just do things.
Yeah.
I know, before we got on the mat, he says, just have confidence. You can wrestle. You can do this. Just do it. And I think that translates a lot to life. If you believe you can do something and you practice and you put in the work, just let it go. Just go. And then him as a teacher first, he makes sure that I'm doing well, and he tells me that you're smart, you're smart. And just hearing that from a teacher, not only just from your coach but from your teacher, and knowing that they really care about your well-being. Because this year I had a concussion, and the fact that I know a lot of coaches are probably it's up to you whether you want to wrestle or not with the concussion. But he was at first he was it's up to you how you're feeling, and then the day of he was I'm not doing that because you guys are my children, and it's I couldn't even do that to my own child, and I know you really want to go out there and perform, but I can't let you do that, and you have so much more to give, and anything can happen, and your brain is more important at the end of the day. Just having a teacher / coach who cares that much and realizes your potential in the classroom. And that was one of the biggest reasons too, knowing that hey, it's your brain. Forces, that's that, and you're gonna be successful, but you gotta take this time and get better and make sure that you're good to go in the classroom and perform academically because you're smart, and that really meant a lot. So I've definitely found that coach who's I know is gonna be there, and it's not just there for the athletic success.
Yeah, nice. So I know that you are currently 2 years away from graduating, and I'm sure that is something that's at the top of your mind and you're planning and preparing for that. Let's talk a little bit about what your thoughts and fears are around transitioning from high school to whether it's college or whatever that might be, but into young adulthood. Do you have questions surrounding that phase in your life? And that's not here yet, but I know that you're probably planning what those next steps might be.
Questions? I haven't thought about many questions, but as far as game planning, I've definitely written things down, typed things down that are on my mind as far as what I want to do, and making a list of schools. I've made a list of schools, over 30 schools, that even if I'm not seriously considering them, they're there, just so I can narrow it down and have options, and as far as locations go. So I've definitely been thinking about that a lot, but my big thing right now is I want to go to school for free.
Okay.
Right. I want to leave college with as little debt as possible. 0 debt would be amazing.
Yeah.
Right. Because I know a lot of people can't say that.
Yeah. When
I get that first serious job, well, I'm a lot better off. I don't have to worry about student loans or any of that. So going to school for free is definitely a goal. It's a goal I believe I can, accomplish and achieve. If I can go to school in a location that I really like and go to that, school that I really want to go to for free, amazing. But if the other two, don't work out, locations, dream school, that doesn't work out, that's fine as long as I can go to school for free.
Sure.
And I get a good academic environment as long as I can learn.
Right.
Pretty well. So that's important.
So are you considering a career? Have you thought about what it is that you might want to do in life in the next 2 years? I mean, so clearly you're talking about college. Any career path that you're thinking about?
I don't know what I want to do, but I know what I want to learn. I want to get into psychology, sociology type aspect. I definitely want to learn about that. Yeah. That's something I'm interested in. Mm-hmm. Because psychology, the thing I like about psychology and sociology is that it kind of lingers off into philosophy and why are we here, why do we do what we do, and how do we handle with things, how do our different childhoods develop later on in life.
Sure.
Those are definitely questions that I think anyone has, and psychology would be definitely interesting. And I just want to study something I'm interested in.
Right.
I don't want to study something that I'm not interested in, something I'll be bored with.
Okay.
Because life is short and I don't want to be miserable.
Yeah.
That's life for nobody.
So thank you for joining me, Roderick. And I have just one more question for you, or maybe two more. If you had to leave, when you leave this conversation today, if you wanted to leave something for teenagers your age and adults, what would your message be to the audience out watching? What would you want them to take away from our conversation today?
Life is not as serious as you think it is. Although there are serious aspects of it, I think as people we put way too much pressure and expectations on others and ourselves, and once you just sit down, breathe, and realize that it's a blessing and it's amazing that we're here in the first place, I think it kind of helps put everything in perspective. So be confident in yourself, be confident in your ability to do things that you've practiced and that you've worked hard for, and don't take yourself too seriously. Nobody else does. Relax. Things take time. Just continue to work, continue to aspire to be something, continue to be kind to others. Be kind to others. That's important.
Well, thank you, Roderick, for joining me today. I look forward to further conversations and discussions with you. Thank you, audience, for joining us. I hope that you've had an opportunity to take something away from our conversation. I look forward to seeing you next week on Coaching with Charley, Life's Transitions. Please subscribe, like, or comment on our video. Please check out my website at coachingwithcharley.com and check out my blogs. Also, if you're interested in coaching sessions, go to my website. There is a free 30-minute session. Please take time to log in and subscribe. Thank you and have a great day. Bye-bye.